And we are live. What's good, people? It's your man DL Saints. This is the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast. Welcome all. Appreciate that. What's good? How y'all doing? I was just over. Sorry, I'm a minute late. I was over supporting Suzette Speaks. If you're not already a speaker, please go over to her page, Suzette Speaks on YouTube, and support the sister. She brings the fire all the time. She just did a show on catfishing and why it's a thing, like who's been catfished. Great topic. I missed it. It's Saturday. I was out running around. I missed most of it. I tried to jump in, but it was too late. Yeah, shout out to you, Suzette. Thank you so much for all your support. You're like, that's my mentor. I'm just keep it 100. Like, she's been the first platform that ever put me up. Like, she, of course she pulls up everybody, but she pulled me up. She invited me to be a guest on her show. She's like always like giving me pointers and letting me know the lay of the land and what's going on. You know what I mean? So shout out to Suzette because she is amazing. We need more women like her. Shout out to her. And she's Jamaican, y'all. Originally, yo. So you know what I mean? That's for her. I can't play the whole thing, but you know what I mean? Whatever I listen to my dance, I'll be thinking about Suzette, man, because she good people, man. So what's going on? Welcome. For those of y'all who jumped over, Ray, what's good? Welcome. Thanks for coming through. I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. I am different. This platform is different than Suzette. I'm all over the place, man. You'll hear me talking about politics, dating dynamics from the red pill point of view, from the blue pill point of view. You'll hear me talking about news topics like what we're about to do right now. We're going to talk about what a couple things I saw in the news that I wanted to talk about. You hear me talk about science, did a good show on AI, history. I'm all over the place, right? And I love it that way. I love being all over the place. So thanks for coming through, Ray. I hope you enjoy it. I appreciate the support. So yeah, man, we just, it's Saturday. I was out last night hanging out with my family, trying to recruit potential guests for the show. Like, I'm always working on stuff. I got an idea of something I want to try. So I'm out, getting some FaceTime, talking to some people, trying to convince them to jump on this show, working on subscribers. Like, my subscriber count is jumping like crazy. We're out here, we're putting in the work. We're trying to make it happen. We're trying to get there. So yeah. We're definitely gonna get into this. Here we go. Looking at my soundboard, trying to figure out what sounds I need to have standing by. So yeah. Oh yeah, Suzette had a good show. I'm sorry I missed it. I can't wait to watch the replay. I'm definitely gonna be team replaying on that one to see what's going on. So man, let's get into it. There were 3 stories out there that caught my eye. The first one was Andrew Tate got canceled on Facebook and Instagram. I believe it was Facebook and Instagram. Andrew Tate. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. For those who don't know who Andrew Tate is, which I think is really hard not to know who he is because that brother somehow managed to take over the internet, blew up over the past couple months. In fact, at one point, he was the most searched, most Googled person on the planet, more than Joe Rogan, more than the Kardashians. So we're going to talk about that. There's an article out there I want to read about that. There's a few articles out there, but there's one I picked that I thought was as close to fair and balanced as you're going to get with an Andrew Tate. And we'll talk maybe as to why people are, why society is doing what they're doing. The United States Navy is offering crazy bonuses right now. Crazy. I mean, y'all know I'm 100%. I'm all in. I'm 100% military. You know what I mean? Former paratrooper. I'm a veteran of a foreign war. I support our military like crazy. And I'm looking at what the Navy is currently doing right now to recruit and more importantly, retain sailors and what they're offering. So we're going to jump into that story, which I thought was kind of crazy. And then the story I want to start with. Let me see if I can find here it is. There's an article and then there's a news video from local news out there in California. So, Brother Xavier, what's good? Welcome. Thanks for coming through. Go Navy, beat Army. You know what? You can go away right now, right now. You Navy people, man. Come over here talking crazy. We Army over here, player. 100% Army, airborne, all that. Thank you for your service, bro. Army Navy game, every year I watch it. You just got to watch it, man. That's just the game. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. I love it when the cadets come in. That's my favorite part. It's when the cadets march in. You know what I mean? That always gets me right here, bro. I love that. Miss Glow girls in the house, go Navy. Yeah, of course I would get outnumbered. Of course I would get outgunned today by the Navy. Y'all up in here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all up in here. Xavier, you remember y'all used to have y'all name on y'all butt? Hey, y'all remember that? Y'all in the Marines used to have y'all names on y'all butt. Brother Doug's in the house. What's good? Thanks for coming through, y'all. I really appreciate the support. But yeah, man, I got outnumbered. I should have called up. See, I'm gonna have to call for support. I'm gonna have to get my buddies to come up in here. Where Jay Swan's at? I have to get my people to come up in here. Getting overrun by the Navy up in this joint. Yeah, y'all used to have y'all names on y'all butt back in the day. I'm an old soldier. I was in the 90s. And I remember that Navy and Marine Corps had their names on their butt. I always give Miss Gold Girl a hard time about that. And she's such a good sport. But for real though, thank y'all for y'all service. 100. You know what I mean? I love thanking fellow veterans for their service because we know what it means. We all understand what we did for our country. We know, we truly get it, whereas most Americans don't. And that's okay. That's fine. You know what I mean? That's just something that we all share. And we're going to, make sure y'all stay around for the Navy story because I'm going to want y'all input because it's crazy what's going on with the Navy. And I believe that the Navy is probably just the first branch. All the branches are going to have to start doing similar stuff. So yeah, let me pull up this story about what's going on in LA. I did a video a few days ago about LA, how it's fallen off to a point where it's almost a failed state, in my opinion. Like, I don't understand how anyone wants to live in LA. I lived out there for about 25 years. I left a couple years ago. And when I left, I mean, it was, you were thinking it couldn't get any worse, but it was getting worse. When I left, it was absolutely getting worse. Crazy out there. So crazy out there. So, let's pull up this. Here it is. Yep, here it is. Found the story. This is the New York Times. It's funny that New York is always reporting on what's going on in LA. I think that's hilarious because New York wants the people to see, like, look, y'all say we're bad. LA is worse, but New York is really bad as well. Really, really, really bad. So, all right. So here it is. Like, this is New York Times. And this article was August 10th, 2022. Right. Los Angeles bans encampments near schools. The city council voted on Tuesday to prohibit homeless people from setting up tents within 500 feet of public and private schools and daycare centers, which is huge because there was and they touch on this in the article, but there was a law that was challenged and supported by, I think, the Supreme Court or one of the higher courts. I don't know if it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, but certainly one of the higher courts. This basically said the homeless people can live on the street if there's no place for them to live. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, but we'll see it in here. So LA has been kind of stuck. They don't know what to do. All these homeless people, and they can't legally remove them from the streets, according to this ruling. So, in a highly contested move, Los Angeles this week significantly expanded restrictions on where homeless people can sleep as the city, the nation's largest, or second largest, grapples with its housing crisis. Now, the housing crisis is real in California, y'all. And I mean, it's real. It's extreme, right? There are tons of people who want to live in California, like Southern California, Northern California, the whole state. It's a beautiful state. The weather's great. There's so much going on out there, but it is expensive. It is extremely expensive. We ain't just talking about housing. We're talking about all associated costs. You need to make a lot of money to live in the LA. And I can tell you for a fact, when I was in LA, and I was out there for a while, I knew people making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, and they were living in their car because they couldn't afford to get an apartment. I mean, in some cases, like the people who were making like 70 or 80 grand, they could get the apartment, but they couldn't save. And they would decide to live in their car for like a year or so, save up money, and then they would try to get a house. Now, mind you, housing in general in California is ridiculously expensive. Renting houses, crazy, like apartments, whatever, just renting, and then actually buying a place. And I tell people this all the time, like, yo, we're talking about California, you know, to live in the hood, to live in Compton, to buy a house in Compton, you're probably going to need about maybe $700,000 to buy in Compton today. You know what I mean? Somebody can check my math. It's been a long time since I looked at it. But to be in the hood, you're going to be spending up to $500,000, if not more, to live in the hood. I used to always make jokes about it on stage. I'm like, what? You know, you go to Compton or you go to Inglewood to buy a house. It's like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom ranch, 1,500 square feet. They want $675,000, and I'm like, does that include the yellow tape and the dead person marking on the body, like this chalk on the ground? Is that included in the price, or do I got to pay more for that? Because that's how expensive it is to live in California. I haven't looked in a while. You can check, you know what I mean? I go out there and check what's going on with their housing, but it's always been crazy. So the Los Angeles City Council voted on Tuesday to prohibit homeless people from setting up tents within 500 feet of public and private schools and daycare centers during a contentious meeting that demonstrators halted for nearly an hour, and that resulted in injuries, 2 police officers and 1 arrest. And I got a video of that meeting. It is crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you. The council decision reflects how severe the region's housing crisis has become, experts say. And it's been this way for a while. I moved there in 1998, and I didn't leave until basic end of 2019, the first part of 2020. And it was bad the whole time. The whole time I was there. And I took breaks. I moved to Miami for 3 years at one point, and then I was in San Diego for a couple of years. It was bad the whole time, and it never got better. Like it only got worse. Brother Jason's in the house. What's good, bro? I see you. The council decision reflects how severe the regional housing crisis has become. That's what the experts are saying. We are in that really tragic position of having to talk about balancing where people who are unhoused are sleeping, said Gary Dean Painter, the professor at University of Southern California, Sol Prince School of Public Policy. We shouldn't be making that choice. And this is where the politics begins to seep in, right? The politics begin to seep in on this, right? So you have, they have this severe housing crisis, which has led to this severe problem with homelessness. And now it's gotten even bigger because politicians need to step in and try to figure something out, because the politicians understand that people are leaving. They're leaving California in droves. People are leaving. That is going to affect their tax base. That's going to affect the way they do business in California. So, and all of this is over, not all of it, but the straw that broke the camel's back in most cases was this homelessness issue, right? So, and then you got this person from the University of Southern California who's making these statements. It's like, well, we're in a position where we got to do these things. Like, yeah, you have to do something. You have to govern. You have to ensure that the people are safe. You know what I mean? I did a video talking about how the LAPD tells you not to wear nice watches, nice jewelry, nice clothing when you go out in LA, because you're going to get robbed. They're not saying you might get robbed. They're saying you're going to get robbed. You know what I mean? So they have, like, society has gotten to a point where it is almost lawless. You got LAPD walking around, but they're restricted as to what they can and cannot do. If they do anything wrong, they're going to have to answer for it. Politicians, they want to promise everybody the world. And it's at a point now, it's like, dude, y'all going to have to tackle these issues. These are real issues. And the people who are homeless, it ranges from people who have serious mental illnesses, people who are strung out, so they have addiction problems, to people who are just working poor and can't afford an apartment, a place to live. So people like renting rooms. You have families. You got 2 or 3 families that will be living in one home, one house, 2 or 3 families. And there's no living room furniture and all that kind of stuff. Nah, there's beds everywhere, bunk beds and stuff like that, man. They're housed like military were housed in barracks. I've seen it. Like, you go into the house, it's like, yo, it's 2 or 3 families that live here. When I say families, I'm talking about mom, dad, grandma, the kids, cousins like that. You might have 6 or 7 family members in one family. With another family, they might have 5 or 6 family members. And then a third family might come in. So you got all those people living in one house. This is what's going on in LA right now. It's a huge problem. Brother O's in the house. I say you South Africa's in the house. For real, what's up? So before passing the restrictions on a 11-3 vote, Los Angeles officials had approved a few dozen places where people were banned from sitting, sleeping, laying, or storing property. But the city council introduced the latest measure after Alberto M. Carvalho, the Los Angeles Unified School District superintendent, raised concerns saying young students were being traumatized by what they saw on their way to class. Those who have argued that this doesn't solve homelessness, doesn't move us forward in the area are absolutely right, but not on point. And that's from City Councilman Gare Cedero, who voted for the new rules. The point of the measure is not to solve homelessness at all. The point of the measure is to protect safe passage to school. So again, you guys know I got a kid, right? I got a kid. When we were living out there, my daughter was in elementary school. I lived in North Hollywood, literally 2 blocks away from her school. And I would walk her to school every day. And yeah, man, you would see a lot of homelessness. You would see a lot of mentally ill people. You would see a lot of hustlers walking around. And I would pick her up every day from school because they had the extended child care program. So I get off work and I pick her up. Same thing. It was even worse in the afternoons, which it had added security. There was a time they had to lock down her school because a homeless guy managed to get on campus. I mean, the kids are all like gated in, like it's really secure. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely a problem. This is not something new. This didn't just develop over the past couple of years. This has been going on for the better part of a quarter century out there, if not longer. Again, I was there in 98, right? And I didn't leave until 2020 for good. So it's bad. Miss AKA lady, what's good? Welcome. I see you. So this is a huge problem. And when you're walking around a place like North Hollywood, it's in the San Fernando Valley, it's a decent neighborhood. I mean, once upon a time, it was a bad neighborhood. So it's been gentrified. So you still have some remnants of the old neighborhood still there. I mean, when I first moved, the first time I lived in North Hollywood was in the early 2000s. They have a really nice park right next to where my daughter's elementary school was. And back then, that park was all criminal. All criminal. You didn't want no parts of that area. You stayed away from there. It was all criminal. Every night around 10, 11, 12, you would hear gunshots, all that. It was bad. Now, it's a great park. It's been gentrified. That park, all the property around that park and everything, prices went way up. It's more law enforcement presence there, but you have a ton of homelessness, a ton. And law enforcement can't make them move. So they're building these shelters along the perimeter of the park. They're building the shelters on sidewalks. They can actually just take over a sidewalk. They'll take over a quarter of a block and you can't do anything. That's what's going on. So finally, LA, like the powers that be, the elected leadership, they're like, we have to do something. And this is what they're trying to do. So like the article said, they were making certain restrictions on where you could, pitch a tent or build your cardboard house or whatever. And they're expanding it now to include this 500-foot restriction from schools, public and private schools, and daycares. Well, I'm telling you, there are daycares everywhere in LA, everywhere, because everybody has to work. So this has to be huge. A huge thing for those who are struggling to find homes. The impact of the policy remains unclear, but they're expected to be sweeping. One councilman estimated that it will bump the number of banned sites to 2,000 from 200. So imagine that. Under the current system, there were 200 banned sites. Now it's jumping up to 2,000 banned sites with just this passage of this one, law. So Kenneth Mieja, who was running for Los Angeles City Controller, calculated that the rules would make 20% of the city off limits to encampments In some corners of the city, that figure could be as high as 48%, he estimates. And this is the politics behind it. This is why they're doing it. They know they have a problem. They've been overrun by homelessness. It is literally overrun. Any neighborhood, you can go to Beverly Hills, right? You can go to Compton. Actually, the bad neighborhoods have less homelessness problems there because of the crime. Homeless people, they don't want to get robbed. They don't want to be brutalized. So they stay out of the bad neighborhoods. So when these restrictions came out and the homeless folks realized that, like, oh, I can go to Beverly Hills, I can go to Bel Air, I can go to West Hollywood, I can go to North Hollywood, Vanna, I go all these places, and the police can't make me move. They're like, well, these places are safe, and they'll set up their encampments, and the encampments grow. But this is also a problem. It was a major fire in the San Fernando Valley. This was back in 2018 or 19, 17 or 18, 2017 or 2018. Again, y'all know I was an air traffic controller. We saw this fire grow just at the departure end, like just the end of our airport. There was a wooded area. This huge fire broke out, huge. And the LA Fire Department they have all of their fire helicopters housed at Van Nuys Airport. All of them had to go out there and fight this fire. And this thing was massive, y'all, massive. And it turns out that the fire was started by homeless people in a homeless encampment trying to cook or something, whatever they were trying to do. Burned down a huge chunk of that was Sherman Oaks. And Sherman Oaks is a really nice, higher end neighborhood. Again, all the homeless people were going to the nice neighborhoods because they were worried about crime and they want to secure themselves. So this homeless encampment almost burned down a good chunk of Sherman Oaks. It was a lot of damage. The fire department jumped on it. It had to be tens of millions of dollars that was spent on just putting that one fire out. And it took them the better part of a day to do it. I mean, it started like late afternoon. No, I'm sorry. It started late morning, early afternoon. And then that thing raged. I sat there and worked, and I just watched this fire just blow out of control, like smoke and flames everywhere. And it made my job real hard because we still had airplanes that needed to land on the airport and they couldn't land. They couldn't fly through the fire, obviously. It made my job real hard that day. You know what I mean? Typical air traffic controller. That's how we just like, we don't care about anything. It's like, well, how does this affect me? That's how air traffic controllers think. But yeah, I mean, so this is huge. And you can tell like this is a not so veiled attempt to root out homelessness in the LA area. Right. Steve Diaz, who spoke at the Tuesday's meeting against the new rules, said the restrictions were a way to create redlining across the city of LA under the auspice of improving children's well-being. This statement right here, that's bullshit. I mean, I don't live in LA anymore, but I'm telling you right now, that's not redlining. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Redlining was a way to keep black folks from moving from bettering themselves and bettering their family for the generations to come. Right? My grandparents couldn't live in certain neighborhoods because of redlining, even though they could afford the home. We're talking about homeless folks. Dude, they're not buying anything. So he's like, oh, we're trying to redline it. Come on, man. You should have used a better term. I don't like that term, Mr. Diaz. That's not cool. That's not cool. And now you're trying to demean something that happened to an entire, everyone who looks like me. That. Are you telling me? I mean, what is the homeless person gonna do? They're gonna give the sidewalk that they're living on to their kids? No, they don't own anything. They're not being restricted. If the homeless person could afford to buy a place in these zones, then they can go buy the house. If you got $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, $1.3 million laying around, you can buy the house you're living in front of. But I don't like that redlining thing, man. That's not cool, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady's like, I would move to Beverly Hills too if I were homeless in LA. Yeah, Beverly Hills, Malibu, Venice, Santa Monica. Santa Monica's a big one. Santa Monica, Venice was huge, right? Houses on Santa Monica is like 1.5 million and up. If you can find a place for 1.5 million in Santa Monica, it's probably a cottage. It's probably like 400 to 700 square feet. I am not exaggerating, right? In Santa Monica, I'm not exaggerating, right? So Santa Monica's been completely overrun by the homeless. Venice completely overrun by the homeless. Right. Malibu, not so much because it's far. You know what I mean? Malibu is, you got a hump to get down there. You can walk up the beach, but it's far. And then they have private security in that part of the, of the city. So it's really hard. You know what I mean? Miss AKA lady, they, all lives matter. That red line definition. Yeah. I agree. They all lives mattered. That thing. They sure did. Right. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure the guy meant well. You know what I mean? This is a person of color. You know what I mean? But they didn't think that went through. That's not smart. And y'all know how I am about thinking, man. It's all about
tank. Arch. Nothing gets past the old think tank. Nothing.
That's right. You got to put it in the old think tank. He didn't put it in the think tank. So if it was really about children's safety, Diaz told the council, you would be investing more money in permanent supportive housing, wraparound services, and ensuring that people were able to access housing as needed, and not into increasing, policing. And here's the thing. The market's out of control. It's not that city council controls the housing market out there. It costs what it costs. Everybody wants to live in California. Everybody wants to live in LA. They want to go out there and they want to be the next Brad Pitt. They want to be the next Quentin Tarantino. They want to be the next, you name it. You know what I mean? Lawrence Fishburne. People come to LA. The weather is great. It's cool. They get out there. They run out of money fast because it costs a lot of money to live out there, but they don't want to leave. They can't afford, you know what I mean? Maybe they got evicted. There's all kind of stuff going on. They can't afford to live there, but they don't want to leave. So they stay. And it's just a slow progression from being, what you would consider normal to being outright destitute. You go from, okay, you had your place, you're working real hard, you had a hiccup, something happened, you lost your place, okay, you got your car, you're living in your car, again, something happens, maybe a parking ticket or something like that, you lose your car, or accident or something like that, your car is gone, bam, now you're walking around on the street, pushing a cart or whatever, or carrying everything in your backpack, and you got a tent or whatever. That's how it happens. It's a slow thing. Like when I left LA, one of the biggest things that was going on, people were renting mobile homes. They would rent the mobile home out. So people would pay you X amount of dollars to stay in your mobile home. And then there are a lot of restrictions on parking in LA. So the owner of the mobile home would move the mobile home while you're out working or whatever, and then text you the address of where you can find your house. And this was, we were talking, they were charging like anywhere from $800 to $2,500. No, I'm sorry, I'm lying to you. It wasn't that much. It was like from $800 to about $1,500 a month to live in his mobile home. And the guys would go out, they would go to police auctions and they would get a mobile home, fix it up, make sure it could drive and whatnot, get it registered and rent the mobile home out. And they were making a killing. That was going on when I left. That's how bad housing was. People like, well, just go live in go live in a trailer park. Trailer parks are a lot of money out there. If you're bored one day, just kind of go on rent.com or whatever and see what it costs to live in LA. Just type in LA area and just see what it costs to live out there. And when you find a place that's cheap, Google that area and see how bad that area is. You know what I mean? You can find yourself in Hancock Park, East LA, right? You can find yourself in Pacoima, find yourself again, Compton, Watts, Long Beach, Inglewood, Van Nuys, Canoga Park. Yeah, go look and see how much it costs to rent a place in Canoga Park. Canoga Park has always been the hood in the San Fernando Valley. Always notorious, but it's been gentrified too. It's crazy. It'll blow your mind when you see these numbers. It will blow your mind. Sister Tia, Kiki's in the house. What's good, Tia? What's good? Thank you. And yes, please like the video. We're talking about, I got 3 stories I'm talking about. We're on the first story. We're talking about homelessness, this new law they passed in LA, trying to curtail this homelessness problem. We're going to talk about Andrew Tate next, and we're going to finish with the United States Navy, what they're doing to retain current sailors and to recruit new ones. They're throwing a lot of money at the problem. Miss AKA, so they were moving the mobile home to avoid parking violations or something? Yes. So that's the person who owned the mobile home would rent it. Let's say I own the mobile home and I rent it to you. You have a job, right? You got your, wherever you're working, doing whatever you're doing. I would maintain the mobile home. So let's say from doing daytime hours you can't park where the mobile home is. You can park there at night. Overnight, it's fine. But during daytime hours, you can only park there for like 2 hours, right? So I would get in the mobile home. I would move it somewhere else. So it's parking. I don't get any tickets. And then I'll tell you where I moved it. Like, oh, I found another place. You know, it's 2 blocks away from where you were before. Send you the, drop the pin or whatever. So you can go. And then you go, there's the mobile home. You have the key. You go in there. Boom, boom. And then the thing, starts over the next day. So normally they got 3 or 4 spots to, they know how to work it. Like, all right, the mobile home is going to be between these 4 blocks. It's going to, I know where I like to park the car and where it's going to be good or whatever. That's what's going on. And they're making a lot of money off of that. At least they were. Again, that was back in 2017, 2018. I was reading articles on that. It was crazy. It was crazy. And they're saying, like this is about, increased policing. Like if you really wanted to help, you would get housing. It costs a lot of money to find any housing in LA. It's a real problem. It's a real problem, right? Officials in California and the West have been restricted from banning encampments after a 2018 court decision determined that criminalizing homelessness violated the U.S. Constitution. In a decision, Martin v. Boise, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled, okay, so it didn't go all the way up to the highest court, but it was the Ninth Circuit, that prosecuting people for sleeping in public amounted to cruel and unusual punishment when no shelter beds are available. And that was the key. That was the key right there. If there were no beds, if you didn't have homeless, shelters and whatnot, if there were not enough beds, you can't arrest a person for sleeping on the street. So, and that's the caveat they've been using, and that's why they can't do anything to homeless people sleeping on the streets, which has turned into these encampments that just pop up all over the place. It's crazy out there, y'all. Like, you got to see it with your own eyes to really understand. I'm sure you've heard of Skid Row and what's going on with Skid Row and all that. And the first time I went to Skid Row, you know what? I tell you what, all right. Cause I got to tell you. So, all right, it's story time, y'all.
Everybody sit down, please. It's story time. It's story time.
All right, story time. Story time. So I was at a friend's birthday party, right? And this, my people threw one hell of a birthday party for her husband, right? It was like casino themed. They had everything there. You had blackjack, roulette, poker. They had dealers there, food. It was catered in. You had chefs and stuff running around. It was amazing. One of the best birthday parties I've ever been to. I've never seen anything like it, right? Had chips. You came into the birthday party, they gave you a bunch of chips and there was competition. Whoever had the most chips at the end of the night would get these gifts. Man, it was crazy. The food was on point. It was crazy. But at the end of the night, we had a ton of food left over. A ton of food left over. When I say ton, enough to feed a small army. It was a lot of food left over, right? So everyone at the party, not everyone, but like the crew was like, all right, we don't want this food to go to waste. And they were like, yo, DL, can you make sure this food doesn't go to waste? Make sure we don't throw this food away. Please. All right. It failed to me because I was the only one who didn't bring a date. Everybody else brought their significant other. That's what I get. So that's why when I go things now, I always bring a date. Always bring a date. Even if I got to do a Kevin Samuels style, RP to Kevin Samuels. Even if I got to go rent a woman to come join me. Get some beautiful cowgirl. Not for the sex. Not for the Foxy Brown. Just so I ain't got to be stuck with all the leftover stuff. Like, oh, man, can you go make sure this happens? So there I am with all this food. I'm driving around L.A., right? And the party was in the party was in West Hollywood. So I'm driving around West Hollywood trying to figure out what to do with this food. So I'm like, I've seen all those movies back in the day. You just go to the Catholic church and knock on the door and a priest will show up. And so I'm going to churches. Nah, that's only in the movies. I don't know. The Catholic church don't care anymore. I don't know what's going on with that. That wasn't the thing. So I see some police officers. I saw some LA County sheriffs and I pull up on them like, yo, I got all this food. Don't want to dump it. Where should I take it? And they were one of the deputies like, hey man, here's an address. Take it to this place. So so now I'm out of West Hollywood. Now I'm in LA proper. Right now I'm in LA. So I had, I'm like, I drove south. I'm like LA. And I went to the place. It was closed. There was no one there. There was no note. There was nothing. I'm like, damn. Right. So I see a police officer and they were like, yo, go down to Skid Row. You know where Skid Row is? I'm like, nah. And at the time, I had never been downtown LA. That's not a place that I would go. Downtown LA was just the worst of the worst, bro. You know what I mean? This is before it got gentrified as well. Like, there's a lot of money that was dumped into LA. Downtown LA has been gentrified. So it's really nice now. But back then, bro, you didn't want to go down there without your chopper. That's how bad it was. So I'm like, I got to get rid of this food. So I go down. And the police officer didn't know exactly what place, but he was like, it's in this vicinity. Just go down there. And then once you get close, ask another officer. So I went down there and I'm thinking to myself, like, how does he know I'm going to be able to find another officer? Like, well, you're going downtown. There's definitely going to be more officers roaming around, bro. You're going to be able to see a cop. And he was right. So I get down there, see two police officers who were dealing with the homeless person. The senior officer on the scene, I told him what was going on. And he was like, oh, yeah, man. Make a U-turn here, go down 2 blocks, turn right, and on your right-hand side, you'll see this place. He gave me the name of the joint. I'm like, oh, cool. I guess I'm going to have to. He was like, nah, man. He stopped traffic for me and everything so I could do a U-turn. Went back, found the place, and I pull up on Skid Row. I'm like driving down the street. I turn right. I hit Skid Row. Listen, I've been around the world. You know what I mean? I've fought for this country in the Middle East. I've seen some stuff in other parts of the world, right? When you talk about undeveloped nations and all that, I've seen all that, right? When I made this turn on the Skid Row, I thought I had just driven into Guatemala somewhere. Boy, I thought I was in Somalia, right? Where am I? Like, for real, like, where am I? It looked like war-torn Poland after the Second World War. I ain't never seen anything like it in my life. Immediately, I'm like, I need a weapon. That's how bad it looked to me. I need a weapon. There were like shadows everywhere. Some of the street lights didn't work. And it was just kind of, the cars were just broken down and permanently there. They couldn't move. I see the place. I pull up, get out the vehicle. As soon as I got out my vehicle, you see people coming out of the shadows, bro. For real, it was like Thriller video, man. It was like Thriller. I'm like, what the hell? These people didn't look right. And this was, God, early 2000s. The whole time I'm like, shit, I don't have a weapon. I need a weapon. You know what I mean? It's one of the times in my life, like, I really need to be armed. I make a beeline for the door. I hit the little buzzer. They're like, hey man, I help you. I'm like, yes, I have a bunch of food I wanted to donate. They sent someone out with carts right away. Right. They're loading up the food. And by this time, like, a crowd, gathered around the car. And there's this one dude who didn't really look like he belonged there. His clothes were clean, like, it's like iron. He was just a brother, right? And he was like, hey, man, because I saw him coming. He's kind of making his way through the crowd. He caught my eye because he didn't look right. Everybody else looked like zombies. Here comes this dude. I'm looking at him like, I'm going to have to get with him. You know what I'm saying? And back then, I always kept a pen. I always kept an ink writing utensil, right? And it's cool because you want to jot down notes and stuff like that before smartphones were like prevalent. But I use pens as stabbing weapon, right? So I see this guy coming, I grab my pen, and I'm like, I'm just have to shove this thing in his neck, man, because it just looked to me like he was finna make a move. And he came up to me, he was like, look, bro, look. He back, he kept his distance. He's like, hey man, listen. I'm no hobo. I'm not some homeless guy. I don't have any mental issues, bro. Meanwhile, there's like a bunch of movement going on around me. There's just crazy people doing crazy people stuff. And I'm talking to this guy and he's like, yo, man, I just got out of jail. I just got out of jail. They gave me a bus ticket, which brought me down here in the bus. I guess the Greyhound station was just like 2 blocks away. He was like, man, listen, can you give me, I think he needed $15. He's like, man, I need $15 so I can get the next bus to Bakersfield. That's where my family's at, man. I'm not homeless or anything like that, bro. I need to get out of here. He was like, yo, seriously, man, please, brother, man, can you know what I mean? Can you help me out? And I think I had I didn't have a lot of cash on me. I think I had I don't know, maybe $8 to $12 or something like that. I gave it to him. And I'm like, shit, if he lying, with that story in this situation, he earned that little money. I gave him that bread. I hope that brother made it out of there because he was trying to get to Bakersfield or whatever. But like I said, he didn't fit. It was some scary shit, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. And all I had was my pen. That's all I had, and I was ready to deal with whatever was coming, right? Jumped in the whip, got out there. And back then I was driving a BMW X5, right? So like I said, people would came out, I'm like, yo, man, what the hell? You saw gangbangers lurking in the corners. I saw pimps down there. I saw everything, everything, right? The gangbangers and all that, they didn't approach. Drug dealers didn't approach because they were trying to figure out what to do, like, shit, what's up with dude? And they saw what I was doing. Like, all right, it's cool. They weren't even tripping. He just dropping off food or whatever. I got in the whip. I was out of there, bro. Out of there. That was LA back then. It's gotten worse. So I just wanted to share that story with y'all, man. It's like crazy. Black Man Unfiltered. What's good, brother? How you doing? Welcome. Good to see you, man. I've been trying to catch y'all, bro. I be trying to catch y'all, man. Every time I get in there, it be like late in the show, boy. You already had like 10 people already on the screen. I'm like, I'm gonna leave that alone. But welcome, bro. Thanks for coming through. Xavier's up in here. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks. Yeah, please do. Please, we're trying to grow here. We're trying to get there. We're trying to get monetized. Trying to do big things. You know what I mean? Trying to make a dent in this YouTube world. You know what I mean? So please like and subscribe if you feel, so obliged. I appreciate it. So that's the story, man. So this whole thing that dude's talking about, man, like, in this law, they don't have enough beds. LA hasn't allocated enough funds to get the beds to house the homeless people because there's so many of them. And again, real estate costs a lot of money out there. That's a serious investment. They may not have the money, right? The city of LA may not have the money to do that, right? And where are you gonna? I mean, there's not a lot of land left. Like, where are you gonna build these properties, right? So, yeah, their problems are serious, right? So, but that's the law. That's why people are allowed to just sleep on the streets out there, and that's why law enforcement can't do anything about it. And LA is trying to circumvent that law. You know what I mean? So, and then the article continues, but as more people begin living in the streets, liberal cities are doing everything in their power to get around the Martin v. Boise and Anana Roy, the professor of housing justice advocate at UCLA, is not an effort to alleviate poverty. It's an effort to manage visible poverty and get it out of sight. Yeah, I mean, if they bring like the Olympics or something back, they'll get rid of all the homeless folks. They'll round them all up, put them in nice hotels. They did it in Atlanta. They did it in LA before. I mean, they do that. And that's when people get mad. Like, oh, yeah, I got the money now when the world is going to be watching. But as soon as this event is over, these homeless folks are back on the streets. I mean, it sucks. It's a tough problem, but it is what it is. Jason Ward, Associate Director of Rand Center on Housing and Homelessness in Los Angeles, said that enforcing the city's new law would most likely be complicated and costly. And he said the city needed to focus on increasing the housing stock if it didn't want its homelessness problem to worsen, but they can't do it, right? They're like, we're creating new people that will be camping on streets every day. Ward told me a lot of people look at this problem in isolation, but I see it is inextricably linked to the fact that we don't have enough housing in the region. That's what it boils down to. They just don't have the beds, bro. That's what it boils down to. So, and then there's a video. Let me see if I can find this video that I want you guys to check out. When LA City Council, put this to a vote and the vote passed. So, yeah, y'all got to check this out. This is about a couple minutes. We'll check this out. Hopefully, I think I'm allowed to do this. I've been showing news reports in the past. I haven't gotten in trouble yet. Only time I got, when I did the story about AI, my stream got shut down. I didn't get any nasty grams from YouTube. I didn't get any problems like, copyright stuff. It seems that they didn't want me talking about AI. It was funny. I guess the computers took note. I thought that was hilarious. Brother Doug's in the house. What's good? I've always wanted to visit Cali, but after observing what's been going on the past few years, I'll pass. The need for a poop app to track poop on sidewalks, I'm good. Yeah, man, it's bad out there, bro. It's bad. I am not going to lie to you. It is bad. If I tell people all the time, like, LA is a good place to visit, but I don't know anymore, man. I don't know. Like, homelessness is one thing. You got this rise in crime. That's another thing. People following you back to your house, right? The cost of living is really expensive. right? Especially if you're going to go visit there because you don't want to cut corners. Don't get an Airbnb. Somebody going to come up in there. You want to get you a nice hotel in a secure area. You're going to be Ubering everywhere. You want to get like a black, you know what I mean? Because there are Uber people out there who they'll get you, bro. Like you got to be careful out there. So yeah, I don't know. So here's this is from NBC News and it focuses on the meeting that the article was talking about and how chaos erupts over the LA County homeless encampment ban. So let's give this a watch. And let me see. Let me pull this down. Yeah, let's just give this a watch. Let me make sure the volume's up. Okay, and play.
Faced off with police at today's meeting of the Los Angeles City Council, where the council approved a ban on homeless encampment near schools and daycare centers. NBC4's Angie Crouch has more.
Hundreds of protesters turned out again today to speak out against this measure, and once again, things got out of hand, with protesters cursing and yelling at city council members, and one woman even having to be restrained by police.
All right, Speaker, the council president has ordered you to leave the meeting quietly.
The crowd.
Like this crowd, these are all people who are like, no, we need to help the homeless folks, or a lot of these people are homeless and they're looking for help and stuff like that. There's a huge voice. And I can't say it's pro homelessness, but they're advocates, right? There's a huge voice to help the homeless, but there's no money behind it. It's not enough money behind it. So whenever there's something going on with LA City Council, these people show up, and it's to the point now where law enforcement is strong. Like it's a huge force of cops that'll be waiting in the wings when these sort of things happen.
Crowd opposing LA's plan to ban homeless encampments near schools and daycares got so fired up at today's city council meeting, one protester climbed over a bench and charged toward the council. LAPD hauled her away as the crowd tried to intervene. Two officers suffered minor injuries.
And for anyone who's watching this woman who was pretty big woman, I don't believe she got arrested. I think they restrained her, they removed her, and then they let her go. I don't think she got arrested. Someone else did get arrested. There was at least one arrest, and I believe it occurred outside. But this is real out there. This homelessness thing is real out there.
During the scuffle, and at least one protester was detained. The ruckus caused the council to clear out the chambers for a 20-minute break.
Do we have jail support for our comrades getting...
You look at all the law enforcement that's coming out. They were all waiting. They have their riot helmets on. They got their gear. They were waiting. They knew something was going to happen because every time they bring up this topic, this is what they get. This is what they're confronted with. And by them, I mean the city council. And you see the city council members are just kind of there, and they're concerned. They're like, man, what happens if this crowd gets to us? Right. And I'll be concerned too.
Arrested here.
The council eventually reconvened without protesters, vowing not to allow the chaos to keep them from voting.
Jumping over a barrier and putting other people's lives at risk, that cannot be the norm around here, and we cannot legislate in fear.
The council eventually voted.
Ted Kiki's like, yeah, it looks like an insurrection. Exactly. It did. The only reason it didn't get out of hand, they had law enforcement standing by, right? So they planned for that. They had law enforcement standing by. They knew it could get kind of crazy, right? And then you have the politicians who are sitting there like, well, we're not going to be, forced to do this. We're not going to be afraid. Whatever they're saying, all this stuff. How can you govern like that? How can you govern like that? The majority of folks, the homeowners, the people who are living indoors, they want these restrictions. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not enjoy taking my daughter to school, looking at these homeless folks roaming around, me and my little girl. Now, again, you can't conceal carry. It's virtually impossible to get a concealed carry permit for a weapon in LA County. Virtually impossible. Only people I knew that had concealed carry weapons were reserve police officers, like athletes, wealthy people, like people with political connections that could get to the sheriff, to get the sheriff to okay them to get a concealed carry permit. Those are the only people I knew. And I'm telling you, it was like I knew maybe 3 people that could legally carry. And that's the problem. Like, I don't want to be in a city where I can't, I'm walking around with this, right? I'm walking around with a pen.
Voted 11-3 to ban homeless encampments within 500 feet of schools and daycares in the city, saying many parents and school officials requested the ban, known as Municipal Code 4118, to keep kids safe.
Parents walk by encampments and they're met with shouted obscenities at their kids. They're met with things pretty vile being thrown at their children.
Well, Councilman Mike Bonin, one of 3.
Yeah, things pretty vile. Yeah, like feces, man. They throw that stuff at you, man. They'll urinate into a cup and throw it at you, bro. It's like going to a zoo. For real. They were just outside walking around. And the people I'm talking about are the people who are suffering from mental health issues. Those people and the people who are addicted. And that's the lion's share of the homelessness out there. I mean, that's probably 2/3 of the people who are homeless. Those are the people. I mean, when you hear the stories, they tell you that, oh, I saw some dude shooting heroin up. They ain't making that up, bro. That happens. I've seen that. It was riding around downtown LA. I saw it. Like, oh man, dude's over here getting high on heroin. Like, bro, if you want to blaze up a blunt or something, that's cool. But a needle to the arm? Jeez.
Votes against the measure said this won't solve the problem.
This is going to make the problem worse. This is going to disconnect people from services.
Protesters outside City Hall say the ban criminalizes poverty.
And y'all get the idea here. I mean, you got both sides who are fighting, and you can't help but feel sorry for those people who are homeless. But here's the thing, man. At some point, you gotta go. You gotta go. I mean, I know it's your American right to be homeless if you want to be homeless, but you can't be doing all this extra stuff. You know what I mean? It's not like they're just there, they're sleeping, they wake up, they pack up, and then they go to work. No, man, they build these structures, man. They're living on the sidewalk. They're parts of, like when you're walking around North Hollywood or Santa Monica or wherever, you can't even use the sidewalk because it's all built up. The whole block. This is all homeless people done built these little, shanty things. The whole block. You got to walk in the street. Lord knows what's going on inside them things, man. And that's what Skid Row looks like. So now Skid Row has just moved out from LA and it's moved into all the good neighborhoods. And this is what they're fighting. And it just begs the question, like, yo, is it even worth fighting over? You know what I mean? Just move. You got high taxes, gas is a lot, food is a lot, entertainment costs are through the roof. You have to drive everywhere. You have to. LA is a driving culture. Right? You don't want to get into this on the subway. First of all, the ground shakes. That's bad. Secondly, there's a lot of criminals down there too. You can't arm yourself. Right? It's just nah, bro. I'm out of here. And a lot of people are doing just that. They are leaving, taking their tax money with them. So yeah, man, LA is bad. So that was the first story I wanted to jump on. Homelessness, man, it's just terrible. You can't help but feel bad. Second story I wanted to jump on. I'm going to pull this up here in a second. Why influencer Andrew Tate was banned from Instagram and Facebook. Let me pull this up. And it's going to be hard for me to stay biased on this one. You know what I mean? I know Andrew Tate. I've met the brother. I'm cool with him. You know what I mean? I know him. I know him in real life. So it's one of those things where it's hard for me to be biased because I've sat down. I've talked to the brother, and I keep calling him brother because he is a black guy. His dad is black. He's born in America, raised in the UK. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best. I went through this. This is a Newsweek article. I went through and I was trying to find a somewhat balanced report on this. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I had to go through a bunch of articles. It was hard to find. So yeah. So this was on the 19th, I guess, when this article came out. And let's close that. Controversial influencer Andrew Tate was banned from Instagram and Facebook for what Meta called violations of its policies. A Meta spokesperson confirmed with Newsweek that Tate is no longer allowed to use both social media platforms as a result of violating company's policies, citing Meta's guidelines on dangerous individuals and organizations. And again, Meta, Facebook, whatever, that's a privately held corporation. They can do what they want to do. You know what I mean? People are screaming, you know, First Amendment rights, this, that, and the third. It's not the United States government. That is a company. They can do what they want to do, right? It's a global, international firm. They can do what they want to do. They can make up whatever rule they want to make up. And, you know, it's like the NFL, bro. The NFL could do whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But dangerous individuals and organizations, that's the part that's like, I can't speak too much on it again because I'm biased. I like the guy. You know what I mean? Like I said, I met him. I like the guy. A former kickboxer and contestant on the reality series Big Brother in 2016, Tate has been making headlines and is widely known on social media for controversial ideas, which have often been labeled as dangerous and misogynistic. All right, here we go. At the time of being banned, Tate had 4.7 million followers on Instagram. A British advocate group known as Hope Not Hate expressed delight at the recent update from Meta to ban Tate. Joe Mulhall, director of the research at Hope Not Hate, told the BBC that Tate poses a genuine threat to young men, radicalizing them towards extreme misogyny, racism, and homophobia. So, I mean, here's the thing, the racism part, Tate's black. So, I'm just saying, he's a black guy. Not to say that black folks can't be racist, but we don't normally get that term thrown at us. Right? We don't normally get that. Brother Ross is in the house. Peace DL and to party people passing by to show support. I appreciate that, brother. I'm out with cousins. I'll check the replay later. Hit the like, y'all. Hey, thank you so much, Ross. Appreciate that, brother Ross. I really do. You know what I'm saying? I really, really do. It's just air horn for that, player. And that's a brother I met through Melanie King's platform. He's been, you know what I mean, supporting the brother. I really appreciate that. He's a teacher. You know what I mean? He's an old head like me living in New York. So shout out to you, bro. Mulhall added that his group is calling on TikTok to follow suit. Tate was removed from the 17th season of Big Brother after video was released showing Tate allegedly hitting a woman with a belt, which he said at the time was consensual. I saw that video. Yeah, it looked bad, but I also saw the follow-up video with the woman saying what she was saying. And yeah, it looked like that's, you know, they had planned that. I don't know. Prior to meeting him, I didn't know about that. You know what I mean? But it you know, it is what it is. Shortly after his appearance on the show, he began to rise in popularity. In 2017, Tate was also banned from Twitter after making comments that women needed to bear responsibility for being sexually assaulted during the rise of the #MeToo movement. Again, like, you know, it's easy to chop up what people are saying. You know, I didn't see that particular clip that they're talking about or whatever the long form version of that was. I'm not going to delve into it. I'm just reading the article here. Since then, Tate has gained a large fan base. He has become an icon for hyper masculinity, gaining millions of followers across platforms and fans from men's rights advocate groups to the far right influencers in the process. That I can attest to that. Like, the far right has definitely come out to embrace a lot of this red pill stuff. The manosphere is being overrun by the far right now. But it is what it is. In other video, podcasts, and interviews over the years, Tate has drawn criticism for his comments around the treatment of women. In one video uploaded by YouTube by Barstool Sports, Tate said he needs to have authority over women. Okay. If I have responsibility over her, then I must have a degree of authority, he said, adding later, you can't be responsible for a dog if it doesn't obey you. Now, this right here, I know is all cut up. I saw this whole thing, what they're talking about here. He said it more than once. He's not the only one that's out there saying. There's a lot of people. That's like a common theme in the manosphere. I understand where he's coming from. But just reading this, sounds bad. Just reading that. Yeah, but when, if you go back and actually look at what he said, that's a kind of a different thing. He has also made comments on hitting women, calling female self-defense bullshit, and saying that women can't fight. Right. Again, I've seen this and I know what he's talking about. He's saying women can't fight men. Like, it's just men are bigger, men are stronger. The bone density is there. I get it. I'm not saying that there's no women out there who, can't beat men, but the average woman facing the average man, the average woman loses, 10 out of 10 times. If she's not armed, and that's another thing that they were saying, if she's not armed, she has a problem, just too small, just too small, too slow. Andrew Tate's brother, Tristan Tate, says this all the time. Like, they ain't got hands. And when he says that about women, he's like, I'm not worried about women. They ain't got hands. And this is one of the things that they say, like, we don't hit women. Why? You don't get any points for it. These guys are, professional fighters. Like, women ain't got hands. I ain't worried about it. You just pick them up and set them down. But there was an episode of Fresh and Fit when someone was like, yeah, I could fight a man. And, it's like, no, you can't. Don't do it. Don't try. Ladies, if you're watching this, ladies, don't try to fight a man. Don't do it. If you come across a guy who's going to fight you, I'm not saying there's a lot of men out there who will, but there are some. You don't know who you're coming up against. You go up against a dude, it is not going to go well for you unless you are armed. And I ain't talking about with something to stab you. You need a weapon. You need a firearm. If you have a firearm, then go ahead. But if you don't try to get into a fight with the guy. I don't care if you took Krav Maga. I don't care what self-defense thing you're using. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Men are dangerous. Just keeping it 100. Men are capable of extreme violence. Just so you know, ladies, don't do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and Tate went on to say, you're incapable of fighting. You are incapable of handling genuine violence. Right. And I agree with him. Like, most Americans don't understand what real violence is. Most Americans don't see it. Y'all don't know what it is, for real. You just don't know, man. It's just not a lot of people who are listening to my voice right now that knows what it sounds. When someone gets hit in the head with an aluminum bat, it makes a sound. There's a certain sound that makes. That gets into your head and bounce around. It stays with you forever. It's a certain sound when someone gets hit like that. Right? When someone gets shot, when you see someone get shot, it will amaze you what the human body can endure. First time I saw someone get shot, man, they ran like half a block. Gone. And then they came back and got patched up and then, put them inside of the paramedic unit and off they went. But seeing people get shot, listening to people getting stabbed. We're talking about violence. We're not talking about fighting at this point. We're talking about real violence. Right? It stays with you. It never leaves. It never leaves. To hear someone pleading for their life, it never leaves you. Violence. Right? True violence. Ladies, you want to stay away from that. You want to stay away from that. I've seen women get into a fight with other women. And like back in Cincinnati, girls would take batteries, like those D batteries, those really big batteries, put them in a sock, and they would come up and beat other women with it. I've seen it. They would take razors and cut people with it. They would take battery acid and throw it on each other. Talking about true violence. And that's what he's talking about. Real violence. He's talking about just like a fight. You close your eyes and do all this. No, man, we're talking about real violence. Like, a lot of people I ain't seen it. Y'all just haven't seen it. You know what I mean? So, I think that's what he's talking about. And Sister Tia, like, DL, wouldn't you say that politicians, the government, indirectly or directly pressure these SM giants to protect certain groups from hate speech? Congress threatens Zuckerberg to take certain action. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. There, behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. You know what I mean? When you look at the 1%, at the end of the day, it's only about money. It all comes back to money. So I would definitely say that there's shit going on behind the scenes. Don 007, there are weight classes for a reason. Yeah, absolutely. There are weight classes for a reason. Miss Globe Girl, his narrative mixed with his popularity and reach is considered dangerous. Okay. The other Manosphere members do not have the same popularity and reach, therefore not as dangerous. I feel you on that. I do. I feel you on that. Yeah. But then I guess the follow up to that would be, why is he so appealing to a certain segment of men? Why is he so appealing? You know, and that's the question. But his reach got like crazy over the past 90 days. And then Sister Tia, so yes, IG and Twitter are private companies and have their policies, but to say U.S. government do not influence those policies wouldn't be accurate, in my opinion. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. You're talking about just that invisible pressure that we don't know about. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Zuckerberg's company is trying to make some moves, doing something. And then, you know, some guy in a suit shows up and is like, listen, y'all do something about this guy, then we'll make sure you won't have any issues getting whatever you need from the government. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Do I think that happens? Yes, I do. I think that happens. And again, so just continuing with the article. In other videos, he stated that 18-year-olds are more attractive than women in their 20s because they've been through less joysticks, let's call them. Starts with, you know, they've been through less DICKs. You know, they haven't been on the cock carousel as long. You know what I mean? You can make that argument if you want. You can make that argument. You know what I mean? He has also expressed thoughts on how he believes women shouldn't drive. He doesn't believe in depression and that men can't have feelings or show emotions. And again, a lot of this, the words are true, but there's no context. Like, he wasn't saying that women can't drive. He was like, the best drivers are men, and he was, you know, explaining why. You know what I mean? I watched bits of that. Like, yeah, it was him and some Twitch guy that was going back and forth. And again, a lot of stuff that Andrew Tate says, he says it to get eyeballs on him, right? He knows what he's doing. He is pushing the boundaries. And, you know, it kind of caught up with him a little bit. It caught up with him a little bit. According to the Daily Beast, Tate's home in Romania was raided by police in April during a human trafficking investigation. It was reported that there were claims of a woman being held in the house against her will, though Tate has not been charged or arrested for any crime. Yeah, because he talks about that. They've been him and his brother. It was actually his brother. It wasn't Andrew Tate. It was Tristan. Had met this woman, and an American woman invited her back to the house they were having a party. It was a bunch of other beautiful women there, whatever. You know, Andrew Tate was there. Tristan was there. I guess some of their homies were there, whatever. And this American woman was at the party. She's posting on social media. This is how the story goes as told by the Tate brothers. She's posting on social media. Her boyfriend is in America. I want to say he was from Oklahoma or Nebraska or something like that, which is where she was from. But she was gone on the party. I guess she was gone to Europe with her friends. And as the story goes, the guy saw her post, called her up. What are you doing over Andrew Tate's house? Oh, you with the Tates? And she was like, no, they won't let me leave. I didn't want to come here. They brought me here. They won't let me leave. So her husband or boyfriend, whoever this dude was, allegedly reached out to the State Department. The State Department, well, no, he called his local PD. The local PD reached out to the feds. The feds reached out to the State Department. State Department reaches out to Romanian law enforcement officials. The next morning, the Tates were raided by Romanian, FBI, whatever they are, with the ninja mask and stuff like that. They raided the house. They took all of the computers. They took everything they could, all the camera footage and all this kind of stuff. And Tate has a very close relationship with law enforcement there. And he was like, hey, what's going on? Hey, man, we got to do this. The Americans are making us do this because some girl said that you kidnapped her. You guys kidnapped her. Okay. So apparently there's video out there. There's video footage that the Romanians seized that shows this woman outside of the gate of the Tate's place had ordered pizza. The delivery guy shows up. She pays for the pizza, whatever, gets the pizza, comes back in to the house, and it's like there's footage of her partying with everybody and whatnot. So that's their version of the story. Law enforcement released them immediately. That we know to be true, obviously, because they're out. You're right. And that was the end of that. But you keep hearing this, human trafficking ring story. And it is what it is. I don't know. Again, all this happened after I met him. I only met the brother the one time. I ain't get a chance. If I see him again, I'll ask him about it. But yeah, bro, that's crazy. Brother Doug, Tate gave an interview. He's backpedaling now. Oh, is he? Okay. He's backpedaling now. Yeah, he went hard. You know what I mean? He went hard. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. He's making a ton of money, though. I tell you that. He's making a ton of money online with his. He has Hustlers University in his war room. He's got he's doing well. He's doing well, but not being able to get on social media is going to affect his ability to get potential clients into his funnel. Brother O, why is America promoting weak men when the whole world has their eyes set on the United States? That's a good question, bro. That's a good question. You know what I mean? That's people are asking that. Why are Americans, especially American men, depicted as being so weak? There are a lot of weak dudes out there. We've all seen them. We know who they are. Little boys don't get a chance to go out and play anymore. You can't roughhouse anymore. We put little boys on drugs to make them sit down, make them calm down. It is what it is. You know what I mean? This is it's a thing. It's a thing. So with respect to Andrew Tate and what's going on with that, I'm not a big fan of censorship. I'm not. I understand there is a such thing as hate speech. I understand what that could lead to. You know what I mean? I'm a student of history. I saw what the Nazis did. All this behind one man, Adolf Hitler. I get that. You know what I mean? There are bad people. There are absolutely bad people. We've seen like these cult leaders and stuff like that. I've heard people refer to Andrew Tate as a cult leader. Now they're saying he's he hates women. I know what I wanted to show you guys. And I'm gonna show this to you. I've done an episode on this, but there was an episode when Andrew Tate was on Fresh and Fit, and it's just something I want to show you guys that he said at the end of this particular episode. He's talking to women, and it's Fresh and Fit. It was the after hours show, and it just struck me. What he said was it was heartfelt. I was in the studio that day. He was tired. He started the episode out, he was like in character, but towards the end, he said something at the end that I knew like he meant it. Like he was just like, yo, what the hell? And let me find that for you guys. And I apologize for not having it loaded up. I'm gonna have to just give me a quick second to find it. But I did an episode on this, and this was before all of the hype with Andrew Tate and everything. This was before that. I did an episode on this when he was saying what he was saying to these women, and it was about the whole boss babe thing. It was about the boss babe things, and I think y'all might be able to hear that. And it just blew my mind what he was saying. And the question, and it was all about, what really, what makes women happy kind of thing. Now, I found the video. I'm just trying to cue it up to the actual part where he was saying these things. Okay, I found it. And it just, to me, these words that came out of Andrew Tate's mouth. And again, this was before the world knew who Andrew Tate was. Really, only the manosphere kind of knew who he was. This was before the cancellation and all this kind of stuff that's going on. So he's going to say something to these young women. It's a table full of young women. It's Myron and Fresh. And Myron and Fresh really wasn't saying anything at this part.
Your career.
And they're going around the table asking these women.
Oh, man, you better hurry up. Yeah. Goddamn.
I know.
Talking about having babies and.
Oh, my enemies.
Oh, man, you better hurry up.
Like, I want somebody to take care of me when I'm old. That's the whole thing of life. Somebody take care of you.
And then, like, Tate was just taking it all in.
I want kids regardless.
Okay. Miss Cuba, what about you?
Do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, he was taking it all in. He was listening to these young women.
What would that be? That we're asking what is it the fuck that you
I'm
want
not
to do?
saying that I don't want to have kids, But if I decide not to, well, I plan on becoming a doctor. So I'm just
and these women are basically like, we don't need men. We just gonna get our career.
I'm 21.
We're gonna be fine.
School already?
Right,
No.
which is great.
You're gonna go. Okay.
Do you? That's gonna be fine.
What about you?
I have a kid.
Right, and
it was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I want more.
so Andrew was just taking it all in.
Trent. What about you?
Nigga, are you stupid?
What
happened?
Bro, you stupid, dog?
What happened?
Nah, he's retarded.
Yeah, and that came from there.
Probably similar answers. I probably surround myself in.
Yeah, Fresh was talking to Chris, their producer, off camera.
If I didn't have that.
So you do want? Okay, so you don't want kids?
Do you want kids,
Do you want kids?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, you do. Okay, all right.
A life without children is vapious.
And this is the part I really want y'all to listen to real quick, man. Just listen to what he said. But again, it was a long night. He wasn't scheduled to be on this show. He just popped in, right? And he was on for hours. It was a couple hours by this point, and he was tired. So what he was saying now, he was not in character. He was not Andrew Tate character, super alpha, whatever. This is just a dude, an older man listening to these young women, and he was just really concerned with what he was hearing. So check this out.
And it's inane and it's pointless. And you may sit here and think that your career matters, but the truth is that your job will fire you out of whim and don't give a second. Don't give a solitary shit. So and when you're 52 and you're past it with no grandchildren in a house by yourself, and all your friends have grandchildren in this beautiful life, and you're sitting there by yourself, do you think the fact that you can afford a few extra Gucci bags is going to genuinely make you feel happy? I was at my grandmother's 93rd birthday. I looked there. My grandmother had 9 children because there was my father and 8 more. They all had a bunch of kids, blah, blah, blah. I stood there and I looked at my 93-year-old grandmother, and there was a whole room full with maybe 70 people that came from that one woman. Isn't that remarkable? Yeah, that nobody cared about her career. Nobody asked what job she did. Nobody asked how many times she went to the club. Nobody asked if she had time to go to festivals. No, you had 70 sentient beings, including myself, full of life from one woman who dedicated herself to being a mother and a good wife. That is beautiful. And if you sit here and genuinely think that you're going to work your ass off through your fertile years, and by the age of 54, you're not going to be suicidal alone with a cat, then you're dumb. You are dumb.
Right, I'm not saying
you are dumb.
Perfect plug here. Invest in Chewy.
You're not going to see that anywhere. You're not going to have anybody writing about that. And then people are like, well, come on, DL, man. That's just one statement out of thousands or whatever. Every time Tate says something controversial, right, and he knows that like someone's going to clip this, he breaks it all the way down. He breaks it down. He gives his argument. He breaks it down. Now you don't have to agree with him, but he doesn't hate women. I've come across people who truly hate. I've been in a room with people who hate me because I'm black. I've been in a room with Palestinians who absolutely hate Jews. I've been in a room with Jews who absolutely hate Palestinians, right? I've seen true hatred. I've seen it. I've talked to people who are, they really they hate. I've seen it. I didn't get that from this man. I didn't get it from this man. Could I be mistaken? I absolutely could be. Absolutely. I could be. But I didn't get it from that dude. Right? And so we want to remove his voice. Right? We want to remove it. We don't want anyone to hear anything he has to say. So we don't want anyone to hear what he just said. I come across so many unhappy people these days, men and women. Men are lonely as shit. Women are mad they didn't have kids. They got all this money. Like you said, because you can buy yourself a couple extra Gucci bags. That's not going to make you happy. It's not. So I don't know, man. That's where I stand with that, man. I don't think that. I don't believe that what this guy is a dangerous person or whatever they say. I don't see that. Right? The dude's making money hand over fist, and he's saying what a lot of men want to hear. You got these guys who are running these corporations. You got these guys who have big money. You got these guys who are athletes, entertainers, and whatnot. They are all listening to red pill content. They are all supporting the manosphere. They just can't put their face on it. That should tell you something. That should tell you something. Men believe that men should be men, but they won't say that. Go listen to Bill Burr stuff. He's been talking about this for 20 plus years, man, in a funny way. In a funny way, but it's facts. You know what I mean? He's giving you the realness, the absolute realness. Sister Tia, the original poster of that video thread about Tate is more dangerous to society, in my opinion, than Tate. Yeah. Long fingernail makeup wearing man. Yeah. A denigration to our society. I mean, you can do what you want to do, be who you want to be, smash who you want to smash. I don't care. But when people start trying to tear down other people, when they want to silence you, they want to burn your books and all this kind of stuff, that's wrong. In my opinion, that's wrong. There are a lot of people out there who talk about black people ain't shit. You know, there's a lot of people out there that say that, you know what I mean, that we're a scum of society. They say this stuff that we're all criminals and rapists and you know what I mean, and we're lazy and we're stupid. They say this today. I don't listen to them. I want them to be able to say it, though. I want them to be able to say it. I rarely come across anyone who will say it to my face, right? I welcome that too. Please come call me a nigga. Please come do it. You know what I mean? Because I've been called nigga before, for real. I've been in situations where I'm running and they calling me like, you better run, nigga. Yes, I've been through that. I ain't running now. Come see me. Please come say that shit to my face. Please. I want to be able to hear. I want to see you and the people that you associate with. I want to see y'all together. I want to hear you say that I'm lazy because I'm black, or, you know what I mean, I'm a criminal because I'm a black man, or this, that, and that. Please let me. I want to see that. I want to know where y'all at. I don't want it to be quiet in the corner somewhere. I want to be able to see it. If you really think this man is dangerous, you should encourage him to say more, not say less. It's my opinion. Let him say more. Right? You can see the people who hollering at him. Let him say more. That's my opinion. Like, I don't, you know, I'm not about canceling anybody, but you know, there's stories behind the story, right? There's more to this than we probably would never know. You know what I mean? There's more to it. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. But that's the Tate thing. Tate got canceled. We'll see how it plays out. And then there's one final article that I wanted to read over about the United States Navy. And if I can find that, here it is. The United States Navy. They need people bad. The U.S. Navy is now offering a life-altering $115,000 to recruits and veterans who join up. I say jump because I'm airborne. I'm always thinking about jumping off shit. $115,000. Now, this is broken down, of course. They're just not going to cut you a check just to enlist. Like, I want to be a seaman, right? The Navy is offering potential recruits a new eye-watering figure in exchange for joining its ranks. $115,000 is possible bonuses and loan repayment, right? And we talked about this, like wiping out student loan debt. This is part of this package. In a press release issued on Saturday, the Navy announced that it was topping its already historically high $50,000 signing bonus with the possibility of earning up to $65,000 in loan repayment as well. That's huge. Right. Rear Admiral Lex Walker, head of Navy Recruiting Command, emphasized in the release that the two numbers are not mutually exclusive. So if a future sailor maximizes both, that adds up to life-altering $115,000 and the opportunity to serve in the world's finest Navy. Yo, there he is. Brother Mike's in the house. What's good, bro? What's good? Gotta give you the horn on there. We ain't heard you talking crazy. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. The biggest bonuses are still for sailors who are eligible and interested in becoming part of the Navy's nuclear power program. $38,000 just for the job. On top of that, you can layer more money to ship out quickly. So, damn, they really need folks. The Navy is offering $10,000 for a recruit in any job who is willing to go to boot camp between now and the end of September. Some jobs, however, see that bonus rise to $25,000. The $65,000 loan repayment bonus has far fewer conditions according to the latest Navy instruction. The offer is on the table for any job and regardless of when you ship out. Oh, look, man, they can almost march. Look at them. They're cute. They got their little ninja masks on. Oh, look at the Navy looking all cute. You know, y'all don't do no physical training. That was just cap. Y'all don't be marching on, man. We see Army guys walking, you know what I mean? 8 hours later, they still walking. Under the latest offering, the Navy is also encouraging younger recruits who may not have loans, like high school seniors, to consider signing up by offering $10,000 just for entering the delayed entry program by October 31st of 2022, with the condition that the recruit has to graduate from high school prior to shipping out in July of 2023. I was in delayed entry for a year waiting to get into the United States Army. They didn't offer jack. I couldn't even get a T-shirt. I didn't care. I still was going to enlist. I enlisted. I was in delayed entry for a year. The Navy is offering $10,000. And the way the delayed entry program works, you basically enlist. They sign you in. They do a ceremony. They get you in, and you are now basically a reservist. But you don't have to do any reserve, training or anything like that. You just sit tight. You finish high school, you graduate, and then they ship you off to basic training. That's delayed entry. And then you have to sign in again, become active Army. For me, it was active Army. I guess in this case, it'll be active Navy. Boom, off you go. They're paying kids $10,000. I wonder how that works. I'm sure they don't get the money until they enlist. But they're paying them $10,000 just to enter in delayed entry program. That's what's up. However, the Navy is also taking a relatively novel approach in speaking to former sailors and other enlisted veterans who are considering coming back to military service. The press release specifically notes that returning veterans are eligible for many of the bonuses as long as they come in at the rank of E4 or below and did not receive bonuses in their first enlistment. Wow. So if you were in the Marine Corps or the Air Force or Space Corps, I guess, maybe the Coast Guard, and you got out, and let's say you've just been kind of floating around for 4, 5, 6 years, you don't know what you want to do, you can go to the Navy, and the Navy will let you take advantage of these bonuses. So if you came out, went to college, and you racked up a bunch of student loan debt, you can jump back in, provided you weren't already at E5, like you're at E4 or below, and you could get that repayment. That's amazing right there. That is amazing. If you're a sailor, Marine, airman, soldier, guardian, I don't know what a guardian is. I think that might be the Space Force thing, or Coast Guardsman who recently separated. This is an opportunity without precedent, Walker noted in his release, and he's right about that. I mean, that's huge right there. That can just pay all your student debt off right there. Right? If you finished school, you got you a 2-year or 4-year degree, and you took a lot of money out, like I got $50,000 worth of student loan debt, you can just get into the Navy. And they'll pay up to $65,000. So they'll wipe your debt clean with a 4-year enlistment or maybe even less. Wow. The statement also said that veterans of any branch will go through only a 3-week naval orientation course. I can't believe it's that long. It only take you 3 days to figure out how the Navy works. And that's for you, Miss Globe Girl. At the Navy's boot camp facility at Great Lakes, Illinois, while former Navy veterans would be required to do even less, just in processing. Yeah, so Commander David Benham, a spokesman for the Navy's recruiting command, explained that the high bonuses persist because the sea services recognize that young Americans today have more employment options and opportunities than ever before. I think that's part of it, but I think another part of it is just too many big people. There's people who just don't qualify, maybe for legal reasons, maybe they got into some trouble with the law, or maybe because they're just too big. They weigh too much. We are offering record high enlistment bonuses to be competitive with the strong civilian labor market, recognizing that we are in competition for the best and brightest young Americans from all walks of life. All right. The high totals also reflect that the Navy, like all the branches, is struggling to attract recruits. In addition to unprecedented bonuses, the services has instituted programs that tempt sailors near the end of their enlistments to keep serving longer, offer money to stay at forward deployment locations, and most recently, give promotion to senior enlisted to take orders to certain ships. So you're basically just bribing people to stay in. Wow. It was completely different when I was in from 90 to 94. They were bribing, they were paying people to get out. How the world has changed. They were actually paying people to get out. So, but I got love for you, Miss Globe girl. I see you out there laughing. She's a good sport. Yeah, they were paying people to get out. And I think I missed one from Miss Globe girl. No one really cares if he hates women. The problem is the toxicity he is spreading and his influence, especially to men and boys, that can lead to violence, long-standing hatred towards women. Don't know if I agree with you there, love. I don't know if I agree with you. With respect, of course, I respect you as veterans. I just think it's too convenient. And we're going back to Andrew Tate. It's too convenient to say Andrew Tate's the reason why this person got hurt or this person did this or this person did that. It could he be a factor? Yeah, but it would be many factors, right? It could be many factors in that. So I don't know. I have a hard time agreeing with you on that one. I'm gonna have to sit on it, think on it, sleep on it. But I don't put that on Tate or any individual. You look at David Duke back in the day. You know what I mean? You're not as old as I am. You might not be familiar who David Duke is. But David Duke was like a prominent member of the Ku Klux Klan. He was big in politics. I think he had made it to federal service. I think he was running for something. I was younger when David Duke was doing this thing. So, people like, it's because of David Duke that some guy went out and beat up some other guy or whatever. Like, nah, man, maybe it's, part of it, but nah. Yeah. Keeping older workers is a sign of low birth rate. China's facing the same thing. Yeah, Americans have low birth rates, but people want to move to America. So we never have to really worry about not having enough people like China. They're going to have a problem. But no one wants to move to China, right? No one wants to live in that country, but everybody wants to live in America. So we don't have to really worry about it. We can just shift up the laws. Like, all right, you want to be a citizen, you want citizenship, you don't have to give 3 kids to our military. They're going to have to serve. If you can't serve yourself, if you ain't old enough to serve, give us some kids to serve, right? And you look at the military now, it's a melting pot. We got a little bit of everybody. I went through airborne school with a guy from Nigeria, right? And he was a Nigerian citizen. He enlisted in the United States Army. He had no intention of moving to America. He just knew with the basic training he got from the Army, just the basic, I'm in the Army. I forget what his job was, MOS was. He was like a mechanic or some shit. I can't even remember what he did, but he went to airborne school. He was getting all this hoo-ha shit. He was at Fort Bragg with me. He was like, when I leave here and go back home to Nigeria, I will be an officer in our military simply because I have this training. That's why he was there. And I've served with Turkish troops, Israeli troops, you name it, Scottish. I served with some guys, went on some missions with the Scottish Dragoon or some shit like that. I forget what they were, but these Scottish troops, you know what I mean? The Britain, soldiers from Britain. You know what I mean? I've never served with any. I've never gone on mission with any Canadian soldiers or anything like that. But I've heard stories. You know what I mean? So there's always going to be folks who want to come to America not only to live here. As fucked up as it is, we still have the best place on the planet to live, in my opinion. For now, anyway. For now, it might change. That might all change. I got my eye on a couple countries where I think I'm going to be living. I got an exit plan. My strategy is there, but right now it's still cool. And there's people who are always going to want to come here because of the opportunities. You can come here from your country, you know what I mean, and work hard and really get the American dream is still there. Americans have never attain the American dream because they're lazy. They're lazy and they'll sit there and point the finger at other people. But people come over here from the Middle East, they come over here from Asia, they come over here from South America, Central America, and within the generation, they're wealthy. You know what I mean? We've all seen it. And Miss Globe girl, David Duke poisoned the minds of ignorant white people, though. He did. But I think he poisoned the minds of those who wanted it. They wanted that. Right. If anyone's really listening to like Andrew Tate, like that little clip I played right here. I played that little clip when he was just trying to tell these young women, man, quit playing. Like, get yourself a good dude, get yourself a family. It's a beautiful thing. Women give birth to kids. That's what he was trying to talk to. And when the cameras went off, he was still talking to the ladies were asking him even more questions. He was like, nah, for real. Like, go ahead and make all that money, but that money's not going to bring you happiness. Like if you're just utterly alone with no kids and no grandkids, no nothing. He was sincere. Now, that was just one encounter. Like I don't know what's going on, but like I said, I met the guy. I like to think I'm a pretty good judge of character. The guy was pretty solid. You know what I mean? Yeah, he said some way out stuff, but when you actually sit down and talk to him or debate him, he's like a different type of dude. I ain't gonna lie to you. But enough of Tate. You know what I mean? The United States Navy right now is paying a whole lot of money. So young kids out there, if you're young, you about to graduate high school, you can earn up to $115,000 by joining the United States Navy. You should do it. You should do it. Do it before you join the Army or Marine Corps, because I'm telling you, first of all, they're not going to pay you that much money, and it's going to hurt. You join the Army and Marine Corps, you are going to hurt. Just telling you right now. I'm going to give it to you straight. You want to be part of the best. You want to be airborne. You want to be a Marine. Yeah, there's a physical cost to that. It's a toll to be paid. So join the Navy. Get that money. Get that money. I used to sing this one case that we used to sing. And I was singing even more now, knowing that you can make $115,000 in the Navy. G.I. Rice and G.I. Gravy. G.I. wish I had joined the Navy. $115,000, y'all. That's crazy. I'd be singing that cadence every single day. I'll run right to the Navy recruiter. Like, look, I'm in the Army right now. Can you get me in that $115,000? But seriously though, I bet you that's gonna spill over to all the branches. I guarantee you they're gonna offer that some sort of college repayment plan. Guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because we need young men and women. Our military is degrading right now. We're falling short of the force status that we need to maintain our current military. We're falling short. So something's gonna have to happen. Brother O, if you tell women to have kids today is almost equivalent to asking them to sign up for slavery in their minds. Yeah, could be. They're busy getting it. Man. They're busy getting it. So those are the three stories I wanted to cover. Thanks for hanging in there with me, y'all. I appreciate it. I really do. Brother Miss Globe Girl, thanks a lot for your input. You know what I mean? I'm gonna think on it some more. And I haven't forgot, I'm working on that wage gap story. I'm working on a wage gap episode, Miss Globe Girl. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna get that thumbnail out plenty of times so you can make sure you're there. I gotta have you there for that one. Brother Michael, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Who else? Tia Kiki, Brother Doug. You know what I mean? Thanks so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Don 007 was in the house. Thank you so much. Brother Roz was in the house. Brother Xavier came in for the first time. I appreciate it. And for all those who came over from Suzette Speaks, thank you. Thank you so much. Miss AKA Lady, always good to see you. Black Man Unfiltered Networks. I'm so glad you popped in, brother. I appreciate it. Brother Jason was in the house. Be looking for our upcoming episode. I'm gonna have Brother Jason on again. We're gonna talk some more about credit. We're gonna narrow it down a little bit, and can't wait to get that one off the ground. This was fun, y'all. Those are the three stories: Andrew Tate, LA homeless problem, and the Navy. $100,000 plus $115,000 to serve in the United States Navy through different bonuses. That $65,000 college repayment. Yo, y'all need to be telling those young people that is worth 3 or 4 years right there. $65,000 to pay. That's your degree right there. That's your degree. And that's not counting all the other stuff that you get, because they're still offering incentives and stuff like that to pay for school. So for those people out there who like the military stupid, just down the third, y'all need to be telling these young kids, man, they might want to consider that. You know what I mean? So thank y'all very much. I'm DL Saint. This is the DL Saint I Really Want to Know podcast. I'm out of here, y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Peace.